Okay, so we promised to do a video for the making of Lost All My Tears, and we're going to do it now. We just watched the Noble Six remix of Lost All My Tears being played by Ali Fila and John O'Callaghan in Miami. Just unbelievable, the crowd, the reaction, just everything just sounded so great, the production looked incredible, so to see that was, you know, really, really special. We're really taken back by how much support the track's been getting. Just incredible how many people have messaged us about the track being released, saying that, you know, it's like their tune of the year or contender for tune of the year, and, you know, with so many amazing tracks out there, it's like really, it's hard to sort of let that sink in, kind of thing, you know.
Weird.
Yeah, it's very surreal. It happened with Aztec like 4 or 5 years ago, and, you know, we believe we've tried our best in that period, but we feel like, you know, no one ever like makes just a track at that level every single time. You know, it just doesn't happen.
It's really hard.
So, you know, with this one, I feel like we've done something which is up there with Aztec in terms of the reaction we've got from people and the feedback and responses we've got. So we're just really grateful for all the support, all the kind words we've had, all the messages from you guys. You know, it means so much to us. Unfortunately, Jules is flat out with work commitments, so I'm pretty much doing all the Facebook and responding to people and stuff, but, you know, everything that gets said from me is echoed from him.
Definitely.
So you know, I tried to respond to everyone, and it has been overwhelming, you know, trying to say thank you to every single person that takes the time to write to us. We're really grateful for, you know, anyone who enjoys our music and reaches out to us, and this is pretty much why we do it. You know, obviously the main reason we do it for ourselves, but, you know, to have other people around the world connecting to, you know, our music like this is just one of the best feelings you could have. You know, for me it means more than money. It means more than, you know, fame or anything to like fuel ego or anything like that. It's just what you guys do by responding. That's it for us, you know. So that's my spew all over. Do you want to talk a little bit?
Yeah.
For once.
I think Dan kind of said it all, to be honest.
No, I can't. There must be something there.
No, it's really nice to have a bit more excitement around our name, around our music. I know Aztec was huge, you know, a few years back, and didn't really know what we were doing then, to be honest. And momentum kind of came and went really quick, and now it's like we're not going to let it slip through our fingers again. And like,
I feel like
this is more special than Aztec. I think this track
for you, I think
for me, anyways,
of course,
yeah.
I feel like, you know, what happened with Aztec with Armin in 2009 was so beyond like what we could ever have imagined to happen, and we were so fresh and young to the whole music scene. We'd only been producing like 2 years. You know, at the time we wrote the track with Greg, who we worked with back then. You know, like he I can't say enough positive words about, you know, our time working with Greg. You know, things didn't work out for us personally behind the scenes, with, you know, problems with, you know, other stuff that everyone gets in life, you know, that just meant that we couldn't carry on, you know, all working together. But, you know, he's always someone that, you know, we will always hold, no matter what happens, so close to our music, you know, because he was a genius to work with, and he taught us so much. And, you know, all our earlier stuff with Aztec being the sort of the highlight of all of it was, you know, wouldn't have happened without Greg. So, you know, it's really important to like mention him.
It'd be nice one day to maybe work with Greg again.
Yeah, we've always said that.
Greg, if you're out there, we need you again.
Yeah,
yes,
I've said that to him so many times. So, you know, So and also, you know, back then, like we were pretty much writing, you know, I'd say 60-70% of the material, and we take it to Greg, and then Greg would develop it with us. He would like put his ideas and his input in, but Greg was like such a skilled engineer, you know, in the purest like engineer sense. You know, he was a producer and an engineer, but I feel like he really excelled in engineering, you know, and it's what we learned from him about
very creative as well.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you know, I can't stress how talented he was. You know, what we learned from him about he taught us so much, you know, and he, especially you, I would say, with the EQ side of things, with the mixdown side of things, you know, all the things you have to do to get sounds gelling with each other. You know, Greg was the one that taught us, you know, very early on in our career, like what we needed to know to develop ourselves. And when we lost Greg, we weren't able to work with him. You know, we did a track with Luke Bond, and you know, we luckily found Dave Parkinson, and Dave is like, you know, Dave's a genius. Like,
genius. I don't even think.
I don't think genius. I don't think genius cuts it. You know, Dave is for me the best musical producer in this industry. Like the number of tracks he's made for people, you know, for artists, for DJs and stuff. Like the guy is an absolute genius. You know, it's for us. It was like one of the best things to happen. I'd say. You know, after what happened with Aztec, and then the disappointment of, you know, splitting up with Greg and stuff. Finding Dave just like made it, just helped us so much, because, you know, we are in a position, fortunately enough, where we can produce a track and we can get all our ideas down, and we can get the track to say maybe 70-80% finished.
Yeah,
I'd say, you know, to some people they would hear what we can do and they say that track sounds finished, that's 100% finished. You know, like I've played stuff to people and like it's, you know, it's close, but it needs a really good mix down. And you know, we haven't got that ability right now, after like what 5-6 years, you know, to get the track to the level that Dave can or other engineers can, you know. And I think that's such an important fact that a lot of people, you know, don't seem to understand. You know, there's a massive difference between being amazing producers and amazing producer and an amazing engineer. You know, there's very few people out there that can do both very, very well to a high level. You know, so for us, like working with Dave on our mix downs and getting our mix sounding right, you know, has been, you know, how long have we been with him? Like four years now, pretty much.
It's been a while.
I think apart from Raya with John, which John did the final mix in his studio, everything that we've done has been, we finished it with Dave, and you know, it's incredible to work with him. I can't stress that enough. You know, we're so lucky that, you know, we can take a project file down to his, we can take our Mac down to his, and sit there with him, and he'll just get everything we've got to the best possible level. And we learn ourselves that way. You know, we learn from him, and every single time we go there, we learn more and more and more. You know, and so many people say to us, you know, that we talk to in the industry. You know, guys like Adam Ellis and, you know, people like that. They're like, you know, you guys don't need to work with Dave. Your track sounds amazing as it is. But then, you know, you think that, and then you go and sit in a studio and you spend half a day or a day working on the track with him, and you realise that you might have thought that your track sounds finished, but then when you spend a day or half a day with him, you realise that there was an extra 20 or 30% missing that he brings out of the track. So yeah, that's a little. I know some of you guys, you know, asked us about mixdown and that kind of element. So that's pretty much like where we're at. You know, we mix our track down to the best possible ability, the best possible level we can with our ears. But then, you know, we'll always work with Dave. And I think the comforting fact about that was, you know, when I spoke with Jono from Above and Beyond about it all, you know, and he said, like, even at the level they are, if someone is there that can bring something to their track to make it even better, then they will always, you know, be interested in working with that person, you know. And I think that's the same with music. You know, when I look back at Pink Floyd, like my favourite band, you know, you think a lot of them, you know, they wrote everything you hear on a Pink Floyd track was made by Pink Floyd, but every single track was engineered in the final mix by a professional engineer. And I think that is, you know, people have this, you know, whole vibe of when you work with an engineer, it's like, you know, they're making the track for you. Like in some cases that happens, you know, everybody knows that, but there is a difference between, you know, producing something and getting a track finished, like 100 channels, 120 channels, you know, 60 channels, whatever it is, and then working with an engineer on that final mix. And you know, that's where we sit. And you know, we're not embarrassed to say that, because there is a huge difference. And
it's almost like everything you buy in the shop goes through quality control.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gets a stamp to say that's okay. That won't kill anyone. It can go out and people can buy it. People can eat it. It's almost like the same thing.
Yeah.
Every single track we make, we go, this is 100% on our end, but we also know that we're only maybe 85% of the way
on the final product.
Yeah, and then they do the other 15% by making it sound good, bringing the more bass out of it, or getting certain sounds to gel together a bit better. But the arrangement of the track is all us.
Yeah.
All the creative elements is all us. All of the vocals is Polly or me or whatever. But it's just the stuff. You won't hear the difference unless you hear before and after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and again, I'll come to mastering here. You know, for 4 years now, when we worked with Greg mastered everything, and when we stopped working with Greg, or you know, I hate to stop working with Greg, like you know, just personal reasons in Greg's life at the time, and just meant that he just couldn't carry on working with us. You know, and we accepted that. It was hard for us at the time, but we just had to accept that. But like everything else we've done, when we started working with Dave's sort of philosophy was like, you know, you can, if you get a mix to a really high level, if you get a mix almost perfect, you know, limiting a track will pretty much give you almost as good as what a master can do. And it's only been recently, since I got in touch with Mark Sherry, that you know we've spent the last 4 years, I think, literally doing a mixdown, and then it's just been limited. And some of the tracks we've played, like Golden Scan Sunrise, for instance, Ong Namo, remix of Brian Kearney, you know, those tracks, when I mix them into other tracks, they're so powerful, they're so strong. And it sounds like, what could a master do to make that track even more, like, give it more push? Because those tracks, I sometimes feel like we need to turn down.
Yeah,
you know? They're too strong. That the power of them mixing into other tracks is too strong. So yeah, but luckily, you know, we've come across Mark Sherry, who, you know, must give a massive like shout out to. He did an amazing job of the final master of Lost All My Tears. You know, mastering's just like a total different art to it. It's just something so different. You know, if you imagine that like production's one thing, you know, engineering, getting the mix down right, all that kind of stuff, that's another thing, and then mastering is just something else. You know,
it's like sound design.
Yeah.
It's like taking the sound.
Yeah, I've got so much respect for people that are able to exist in all three areas and be really strong in all three. You know, guys like Giuseppe, without a shadow of a doubt, you know, have to be mentioned there. You know, obviously, where that concern is someone who can do all three to a really you know high level. There's people out there, and you know, obviously, you know, the above and beyond guys, of course, like without a doubt, have got that amazing ability. You know, there are people out there who can do all three, you know, but I'd say they're quite few and far between from my experience in the music industry.
Well, yeah, and we're learning, and one day we'll be at that level.
And I think, like, coming back to like Jono, you know, he always says, you know, you're always learning in this industry. You know, every single day you spend some time in the studio, you'll learn something more. And especially if you work with others who are, you know, not so much better than you, but they've learned a lot about certain things. So for instance, Luke Bond, like very talented producer, he's spent a lot of time on forums reading about VST, soft synths, plugins, how all these things work, and his knowledge of these things is incredible, you know. So it's very sort of unique, and you know, people excel and shine in different areas. But yeah, I sort of digress, but just wanted to let you guys know that, you know, that's a very important part of, you know, producing, and definitely something that, you know, needs to be more sort of understood by people that are new to production. You know, it's taken us 7 years to get to the level we're at, and we still feel like we're only able to get a track that you may sound the full release on Beatport, you know, compared to what we do with it. You know, it feels like we're probably doing like 80%, 90% of what that final, you know, polished product is. So enough of the rambling, but I hope you found that interesting. Let's crack on with Lost All My Tears. Okay, so Lost All My Tears. I think what I'm going to do is actually put up a separate video of what we've just filmed 15 minutes before this, rambling on about engineering, production.
Dan's final thought.
Yeah, but okay. So I've done all the talking on that one. You can do all the talking on this one. So
okay, all right. Deal. All right, so we'll go through the percussion first, and a lot of our percussion, there are some very good sample libraries and banks that you can get out there. One of the best by far is Vengeance. We use Vengeance 4 at the moment. It's got some really good kick drums, snares, percussion sounds, hi-hats, effects, up-risers, down-risers, you name it, it's pretty much on there. The kick that we use, this one, is the same that we use in every single track. And this is what we've kind of used for a long time. It's called the Neptune kick, EQ merged because we merged all of them together. And this has originally got Poltec on it, something that Greg helped us with. It kind of sounds like the spinny wheel of death.
We've got the wheel of death already.
Oh no!
Straight into the session, the first thing you get is the wheel of death. Absolutely typical.
There
it is.
And this is the kick.
It's very great. Like we've tried replacing kicks in tracks before to give it an extra power, but we always just keep coming back to this one because this one just seems to just do the job.
It's got a nice bit of low end. You probably won't hear it through the camera. It's got a nice bit of attack, and it's got like a little tap. It's almost like there's a little hi-hat hitting on it at the same time. That's why we like it. And then at the end, it's got a little scoop, just a little tip
of low cut, just that every sort of 16 or 32, depending on what part of the track it is.
So it just kind of comes down, so it kind of announces that something different is about to happen. So it doesn't take the kick away, but just softens it slightly. So we'll add in the snare loop. And this is the Aztec snare loop.
Oh, is it? Okay. I thought I said to you we should use a couple of things from previous ones, but...
So that originally...
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, there's a bit of Aztec in there. Let me switch the automation off. Just zoom out slightly. Yeah, so all of the green, usually we make our percussion green.
Saying that, I think we've actually used an element of something we've done before, or taking away the kick, an element of something we've done before in like probably every track we've made, I think. It's always been something that we've used, whether it's, we tend to try to be different with every single track, but there are some sounds or some little loops we've made ourselves that really do the job.
So then we have this loop that I've made called Running Hats because it goes really fast.
Just turn up a bit.
And basically, it's almost like a train track, but it's got a lot of high end on it, so it kind of ticks through.
Yeah.
Then you got your clap, which is nice and short with a bit of reverb.
Crispy sort of clap there, yeah.
And then we've got a second clap that's got a bit more fizz to it.
So you can see the two sound, that
one,
quite different.
That one.
But together.
Put them together.
Yeah.
Creates a really strong sound. Then I open a hi-hat.
Pretty sort of standard sounding open hi-hat there.
We have a crash cymbal that we always use. It's this one. Here we go. This is it. And I've delayed it and put some reverb on it, so ping pongs around. This is something new we made. It's like a long reverb on a crash cymbal. You'll hear it. So basically, it's an audio track now, but that was originally a crash cymbal, and we side chained the compressor to the kick and reverbed it. So in the beginning, it's just that's it. So be creative with your percussion, people. You can take one sound and you can turn it into loads of different sounds.
Yeah, I think the thing I learned the most, certainly comparing you to other producers, was so many people are just quite happy to just throw loads of Vengeance samples in, like recycled loops. Just
it sounds the same.
Yeah,
everyone's
got it. The same. I think the amount of times we've had people say that our percussion, more so other producers, it can actually switch onto this sort of stuff. Say, your percussion sounds so groovy, so different in all the tracks. I think it's mainly because you're so adamant that every groove of our track needs to be different. Rather than using the same.
It's like going into a tattoo shop and picking a tattoo out of the book. Every other person's going to have the same tattoo as you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go in there and say, I want this, right, and you draw it,
and then you have something unique that no one else can ever have. And it's like some percussion loops, they play where I want to hear bass, or they play where we want to hear acid. So the only way to get around that is either to chop that bit out, which makes it sound weird, or you create your own around the elements that you want, so you can have exactly what you want. This is a little, I do this in every track. It's like we call it ultra snare, but it's like an offbeat. And it's got some delay on it. We hear that with a kick.
Those two on their own give it such a nice sort of like tribally, jungly kind of feel.
Randy Katana!
Yeah,
Randy Katana style.
One of our heroes, Randy Katana, like.
And then under this, if you look in between all of them, we have the snare and then another one in between. So these complement each other. Where is it? Here we go.
Turn up a little bit. So as you can see, there's a lot of percussion going on with our tracks. It's always pretty much been that way. That your background is like started as a drummer.
Yeah, it's the first ever thing I ever learned to play. Then you've got then you've got this loop that I made a long time ago. If it's playing. Oh, why is that not playing?
It's not going to play for some reason. Okay, so apparently the loop that we made is not even in the track. I get it would be in the.
There we go. That's
there it is.
There it is. It is there. But it's just not playing in the arrangement for some reason. Some wacky reason. Okay, so why don't we just double click there, and if I play it here. That's the loop.
There's a lot of it's a real. You can feel like a real high-end frequency
right
on that.
And little things like that
makes such a difference. Yeah,
makes a little groove.
Yeah,
and that's handmade. That's not vengeance. That's something that we made, pretty much.
Well, you made. I can't take credit for that.
And then you got a clucky fast hi-hat loop again.
Some of these we might have to turn them up a little bit because obviously, in the mix and that they're balanced out.
And once again, this just adds to like this running hat one up here. Just creates a nice bit of pace within the track. And then you've got the tick hat. This one, thanks to Luke Bond.
This is one Luke Bond?
This is out of a Luke Bond track that we worked on together.
Oh, so this was from Atlantis?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then big open hat loop. Also courtesy of Luke Bond.
Thank you, Luke Bond.
And then we got the sparkle, as Mike Coughlin would say.
The legendary Mike Coughlin said that the ride cymbal just gives the track a little sparkle in his German accent. Absolute amazing guy.
And that's this. We use this ride all the time. It's just got some reverb on it, a bit of stereo delay, pretty much.
So that's the percussion. So let's obviously we've turned the levels up to make you be able to hear certain sounds.
So we'll add them all in one by one, so you can kind of hear how it works together. So starting with the kick, then we'll bring in the snare loop. Hi-hats are coming next. Clap. Second clap. Then we'll put in open hi-hat first one. So it doesn't give it that big, just give it a little bit of a groove. Then you got your two crashes. It's more atmospheric, this one. So it kind of gives it a bit of spaciness. Which is nice. Then you got your two And that's pretty much in every track. And then you've got your drum loops. Tick.
So by this point, you know, any more sounds you're going to put in are going to become so kind of subtle sort of sounding, because the groove is there like so much with, you know, the 10 to 15 percussion sounds that you've already got going there. So you've already got like such a really nice groove there.
And basically all of these sounds here create that sound, and these three here create that, for me, the perfect trance sound, which is the which really gets people really grooving. So the first one, second one, and then this one here really pierces through.
Sub. You won't hear this very well.
Also, this wasn't the final sub that we used for the track on the final mix. That was actually a sub, because the final mix for this track was actually done in a really quick time period by Activa. He put his own sub in for the track. I think the only thing he replaced with everything we sent him was the sub, and yeah, that was it.
No, that was it.
That was it, just a sub. So the final sub on the track was actually one of Activa's, and not what you're hearing now in the sound. But this was the sub we used to obviously get the track to where we were sort of.
And this is a ESP. This unit here is very, very cool for bass. And for acid as well. This preset is called Beach Ball.
Wow, you called it Beach Ball, didn't you?
I called it Beach Ball
because it reminded us of. Yeah, there's the Nathan and Kane Beach Ball. There you go.
Yeah, that's
So
why it's called Beach Ball.
There's a bit of there's a bit of nostalgia.
I'm ready to roll.
What a track.
And all of these.
Paul Van Dyke, Cream Amnesia was like every set I saw him play there. He played that track.
So, and if you move each one of these sliders. It gives you a different thickness, a different saw. That's a fucking fat one.
Really, almost like really distorted, growly kind of bass there.
Yeah. So pretty much you move all of those things, and it kind of creates this really crazy sound. So that's what sometimes you use for our sub.
I think most of the time, like with just what you're saying there, with regard, like certainly for me with acids, it was a case of just experimenting. What does that button do? If I turn that knob, what does that do? You know, it's like, you know, for acids, I didn't have a clue what I was doing when I first started. You know, I just literally got stuck in with the virus and just started experimenting with like every single button on there to how it manipulated the sound. And you know, I kind of got fascinated by trying to just manipulate sounds as much as you can to take them away from the original preset that you hear and make them sound something like, you know, so similar but so different, but at the same time it still has that sort of vibe from the original. But yeah, just don't be afraid to like tweak and just, you know, try things and see what that does. And there's so many, you know, things you can do to sounds to make them sound so much better.
And you're talking about sub bass, highly recommended Data Life sausage fattener. If I turn this, watch this guy's face here. So I'll turn it up. Oh, he's getting angry! Ah! And you hear the difference in the severity of the sound. So this thing here just adds a bit more distortion, really good for bass. And this thing here is called the sub bass. And we got it on sub pressure at the moment. Wetness about 36, dry all the way up here. And without, sounds really round. And then you take it off, and it just gives it a bit more low end, so it sits really, really nice. So I highly recommend you doing sub bass, bit of sausage fat, and a bit of sub bass, and you are sorted. Right, moving on to the other bass. So just to solo that with a kick so you can kind of hear. So we've got it up a lot louder than it usually would be. Here's the other. So this is like a mid bass. Groovy bass. I fucking love this. This is an ES2. It's just a little, it's like playing the drums on the keyboard. We have that in with the kick. So that kind of gives it its own identity, and then you've got basically our last one is what we call the straight bass, which is usually 4 beats, 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Between that, did it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So basically, the third and the fourth of each beat has got a did it on it, a double. So that then turns into this. Put that with all the others, with all the percussion. Already you've got a really, really nice driving track there. And no matter where you go, that's the backbone of your track. Everything else gets built on top of it, pretty much. So obviously we like acid, so that's what we move on to next. Some of us like acid a bit more than others, in every sense of the word.
Some of us found.
I found Jesus.
Some of us found ourselves on it.
So this is our first acid sound. This is actually made within Logic on the ESM. ESM looks like this. If you're into Prodigy type acids, this is fucked up, big time. So let's just play. This is it, and it's called Fucked Acid. So yeah, Fucked Acid. Sounds like this, and this is very Prodigy style.
It's almost like a standard, like rolling 3 at 3.
Yeah, yeah. It's got a big cut off on it.
That's right, please.
This one here. Oh yeah. Goes all the way up and all the way down. Have that with a kick. Hit the sub. Oh my god, that's some funky shit! Yeah, and then we go on to, so that's kind of like a mainline one. There's loads of acids, I mean. Acid 2, this one's just called. This is also on silent. Oh, is it going to play?
It's not going to play for some reason. Not sure why.
It's been a bit funny today. This is cool.
Sounds
I sometimes get problems bringing our project files back from Dave's where certain sounds don't seem to play, but then when you when you bounce them out, they play. It's weird. I can't quite work out what the issue is. But
well, this one's virus, so this one ain't gonna go wrong.
This one's one of mine. This is a sound I made from like a preset on there, tweaked it. Like anyone who follows our Facebook page will know that like my acid sound that got me crazy into acids was the sound from the Midway remix of Solar Coaster by Solar Stone. Ralphie B, just absolute genius. Made some insane acid sound that just like absolutely ripped through the mix, and I think from that one sound I just like developed a bit of an obsession with coming up with like crazy acid sounds. So yeah, this one's called Solar Acid just because it's a little bit like that Solar Coaster, but you know, I think no matter what I do,
which is the main one in the track.
Yeah.
So with the other acid, won't play. To bring that into the mix. Whew, we're getting there.
Yeah.
And then we go into intro plucks. That's what we call them anyways, because they're kind of like plucks that take you from the intro into the main drop. This was kind of like the main idea of the track, and it kind of became something that we never changed, which is beautiful sound. It's kind of like a guitar-y, waily, it's really cool.
What was the first like sort of melody line you wrote this track? That was this the first one you did? Yeah. So everything sort of stemmed from this.
Everything
this
stemmed
idea,
around this here now. This is the first thing I wrote. So that's the very first thing that was ever kind of written, yeah. And then there's another kind of Giuseppe type pluck. ES2 baby, ES2. So there's one other little pluck over here. So put them all together. Cool, and that's the plucks. So now we kind of get to the juicy bit, which is the break. So Yeah, this is a bit all over the place at the moment. Right, so now we move on to pads, atmospherics. This is the goose pimple bit, probably the most important part of the track.
Certainly for us, I'd say, with the style of music we make.
Man, no, this is like, it's a disgrace to hear a track without any string elements in it whatsoever. It's almost like, what are you doing? It's like, how are you going to make people feel emotion in your track if you don't have stuff like this? It's crazy. It happens, but it's crazy. We don't understand it, but hey, some people need to make money.
Certainly for trance music, you just can't make pure, true trance music without really
like
nice strings and pads.
Chicane, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you listen to that stuff. It's mainly strings. There's nothing else.
Above and beyond. Listen to all that. Above and beyond.
Man.
It's amazing. Amazing.
What was that track? When we came back from Ibiza, we were on that plane, and I put the radio channel on, and Chicane was playing.
Saltwater or Autumn Tactics?
There was an Autumn Tactics.
Your Saltwater? Offshore?
It was offshore or saltwater.
Yeah.
It's got that vocal.
Saltwater, yeah.
Oh, man. And
Yeah, that's the one.
Rushing on the plane.
Yeah,
That was mental. And that is just strings.
Yeah, when I heard Sun in Your Eyes for the first time in a club in London, and just the breakdown was just like a build-up of strings and pads, and it just absolutely blew my mind. It's one of the tracks I remember all my life. It just put me to another place, you know.
Like, you don't get that from a kick drum.
No.
You know, people don't go, oosh, 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 oh my god, I got goose pimples. You know,
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen, does it?
I know, yeah. So this is it. This is the core of the track for us, like, without a shadow of a doubt.
So we start with this thing called the Lush Pad. Omnisphere, people, get Omnisphere.
Yeah, Omnisphere is just a ridiculous beast synth.
So we skip it on, this is the progression. So then we got another sound playing on silent. This is playing on top of it. This is quite a developed harmonization. Play that over the top. Now you get the two sounds blending together perfectly. So see right there how this one steps down, da, da, and this one goes, da, da, steps up. So you get like a step down and a step up at the same time, and that's how you create this really nice. So this one, if I solo this, you'll hear it go up. It will step up. And then if we play this one, you'll hear it step down. So you take the step down, the step up, put it together, and that's how you create a really nice, luscious. And this is the Neptune sound. This is kind of how what we know it for. People don't know it though until we show it to them. Yeah. This next one is a choir, I believe. It's like a female choir. Stepping up, stepping down. Bass rumble.
Yeah, that's where you really feel it right there.
And basically your low drone, you probably won't hear it very well through the camera, but this is what takes it to the next level. This is when you're standing on the dance floor, and the floor is fucking rumbling.
Yeah, my feet were just like literally just like shaking on the floor. There.
This is the.
You're probably not going to feel it because obviously it's just through the camera, so it's not going to pick up the low frequencies very well.
But basically, this bass rumble is just the low. It's the root note for the main pads that you do. So whatever the lowest note is, the da da da. Just pick a really simple progression, and it will sit on top of underneath everything else. Nice and simple. The next one, this is my favorite bit out of the whole thing, I would say, is this, because it kind of gives it that really big emphasis when the vocal comes in. This goes up. So that really luscious na na, that comes off there. If you play all that together, you'll hear it. Cool. There's another pad sound that comes in here. There's another layer.
The one underneath it's
one
we did for the inside. The sound we found, I think it's from ES. Is it from?
Well, this one?
ESX24.
Yeah, ESX24. Looks like this. Ba-boom!
Basically,
Sampler.
this is just the sampler, yeah. So
Digital choir.
I think I took it out of the inside because it's playing as audio and just put it into the sampler.
But this is another.
That's the pad layers we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 layers plus the low drone.
6 different. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers in total for that break.
6 pads, and then you got the low drone, which is the bass.
We also have a really nice little piano line that plays very subtly in the final mix. Sounds like this. So I play it all together. It creates a very, very strong part of the track.
Probably the most emotional part of the track, obviously, with your vocal on top as well. You know.
So yeah. So here.
The guitar, which unfortunately Chris couldn't be here today because he's had to go to Spain to help his mum move house. So,
how unfortunate!
It's so sad that he can't. But he was the one that wrote this riff. He came into our studio. I live with him, so it's not. He walked upstairs and he just came in with his guitar and literally sat down with us and just did this in 90 seconds. He wrote this. It's called the level guitar riff playing. that's actually literally the live recording of what he did from his guitar connected into Logic. So what we did was then, after he pretty much nailed it with that, was we transposed it from his guitar to the keyboard, and then we were able to put the layers on top of his guitar, of the riff, with our normal, synth layers of
I think
melodies and stuff. So yeah, we'll try and do it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, just.
I think what Noble 6 used, he took out the. He just went.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I can't stress enough just how much of an amazing remix Andrew's done. Andrew Noble 6, DJ producer name. This guy has caught our attention last year with a track. I actually heard his remix of Peter Santos' Deja Vu in Argentina. I remember Brian Kearney playing it, and I just had to go up to the end of his set and say, what was that track you played with that massive melody? And I was thinking, without even thinking, there's lots of tracks that he played with massive melodies, but luckily I pulled my phone out and recorded it whilst it was playing, because it just blew me away. And I played it to Brian, and Brian was like, oh, that's Noble 6 remix of Peter Santos' Deja Vu. And then from that moment on, I've played it we've played it in every single set. So I got in touch with Andrew, and he remixed Ali and Fila Chula, and just did an amazing job on that.
Oh, wow, it's a tune.
And so at this point we're just like, this guy, we really want him to remix one of our tracks. And fortunately, he wrote to us and said that he, loved the original on Facebook, and we got talking, and we were able to make it happen. And it was just so amazing that he delivered such a great remix. We're so happy with it. I know Faddy's certainly happy with it, because I think he's playing that mix more than the original now. Yeah, so that's the thing.
Faddy, we need to have words, mate. Need to have words. Yeah?
That's the thing with Faddy. So yeah, he had the original mix. He played it, and he played it a few times, and then he had Andrew's mix, and he's just been caning the hell out of that. So yeah, it's amazing.
It's a good track.
We're perfectly happy. We know there's going to be plenty of people that will play the original, that will play the remix, that will play both. All these sort of things. So it's all good. It's all the ideas that were written by us that he's done his own way, and he's done an incredible job. He's made it sound so uplifting, but yet so different to the original. And he is an absolute really talented producer.
So the riff, and then we got the virus out.
So this one plays like a stabby kind of pattern on the riff, rather than the more progressive-y guitar melody.
And this is the wet one, so that means it's got a lot of reverb on it. We take the dry one.
It's got a different delay pattern there as well on the dry and to the wet.
And it hits you first, so we layer this on top of the wet one. Makes a really nice sound.
Really cool trick there for producers if you've never come across anything like that before. Just gives it extra dynamics to the riff.
There's lots of ways. I mean, you can control the wetness of the reverb, but sometimes just create your reverb track here, and then just layer the dry one over the top, and then you could get a really, really strong effect. It's just like, so that's wet. That's if we just go over to here. So that's your wet one. So now all I do is I bring this one up until it sits perfectly. Not good enough by itself. Not good enough by itself. But you put these two together. Ta-da!
And then we've got the layers from soft synths as well on top of this somewhere.
What, sorry?
There's layers from we got layers from soft synths.
Up here somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. There, the JP8, JP18, very distinctive trance sound, kind of like one of those sounds that lots of producers use because it's so good, but we're trying to not use it because so many other people use it, but it does work in some tracks so well that it does stay in.
And then this one's quite a big one. So put all that together. Guitar, virus.
In that section there, the virus really sort of takes over to give it that really sort of big build. You can hear the virus building in now. That section where we sort of start to filter things down. And just let the two play there. And then obviously the track kicks in there at 161. So,
And the final thing is just, well, little bits of effects and
the most important thing that you're
vocal.
missing. the most important thing that we haven't spoken about yet. Okay, so I know you've already spoke about this before in our video that we did the other week, but obviously now we're doing the making of the video. So just a little bit about like where was the track at? I mean, I went, like you said, we got it to a point where I think it was more like an instrument. It was an instrumental, and we just felt like you more so felt like it was missing a vocal.
Missing something,
yeah, it was missing a vocal. So
it was strong, but it wasn't.
It's the same as Aztec. We wrote Aztec. You wrote Aztec. You played it to me, and I was like, "Whoa, this is something so cool. Let's work on it together." We worked on it together, but it was still missing something special. And I think it was Greg more so than us that said it's missing a vocal. And that's when we got.
Oh yeah. By the way, most people probably don't know this, but Aztec, I fell in love on one of Activa's tracks called "End of Summer."
That's right. I remember. Yeah.
End of Summer.
Yeah.
If you don't know the track, check it out. And it doesn't sound similar to. Well, I guess it kind of does. I just kind of heard it. It was like I gotta make something similar to it, and just started playing around on the keyboard. And just then came up with that, and that was it. And it's kind of the End of Summer goes dun dun. What's it? Dun dun dun. Have we got it on here?
I'm sure it's there somewhere.
Maybe you might be interested to know this. I don't know. End of Summer.
So yeah, massive thanks.
This track.
Yeah, massive thanks to Rob for the inspiration for Aztec.
Listen to this. That sound, that was the inspiration. Rob, if you didn't know that, mate, now you do.
There you go.
It's over here.
What a track. I forgot how good this is. I've got goosebumps all over my body now listening to this. What an absolute track. We need to play this summer, I think.
What a tune. Big shout out to Activa.
Yeah, absolute genius.
going! Here we fucking go! Yeah, there we go.
There we go. So yeah, that was completely not expected to to talk about, but very very important. Like the amount of other inspiration. That's where it comes from. Like we all get inspired by things. We all hear things and be like, that sounds so cool. And I think as long as you're not directly copying someone's chord progression or riffs, which we can clearly hear Aztec, and that track sounds totally different. Different key. I'm not sure.
Completely different key.
Yeah, totally different key.
Different progression.
Different progression.
He goes
Different
between
pattern.
2. We go between 5.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that,
the vibe. The vibe was what got.
I wouldn't
me
have
there.
started playing around on the keyboard to go, oh my god, I must find something that has the inspiration of that track. Yeah. So going back to what we were talking about, the track was cool, but it needed the vocal. So we got Polly in to do the vocal. She did about 6 or 7 takes, and it was one little tiny piece that ended up in the track.
Yeah.
That was, the spunk moment, if you want to call it that. Oh, I've just come that way.
Oh man, people are gonna either love us or think we're just like the two weirdest guys ever.
So the vocal was kind of the same. It was the same thing. We were in the same position. It was like it was a good track, but it needed something extra to make people jizz in their pants. So we thought we'd just. I think just ended up spitballing this out.
I think what's interesting with this was like you said, one take. This was you thinking about it's your story, it's not my story.
You went away that night. We were supposed to produce together. I was going to work on the track. It was in October. It was I think a few days before my dad passed away on the 31st, Halloween. I hate Halloween, by the way. The 31st of October, 10 years ago. And it was a couple of days before that, and it was on my mind a lot, but I've learned to hide it a lot throughout the years. And because you weren't here, I kind of got really emotional here. I was making the music, and I was like, you know what? It needs a vocal. I'm going to do it. So I set up the microphone right here, and I just kind of said, well, I'm just going to sing whatever I'm feeling right now. And that's exactly what I felt. I got to the point where I couldn't cry anymore. I just ran out of tears. I was like, I've lost all my tears crying for you, and it just came out. And that's so I just sang it. And yeah, this is one take. I didn't have to do 2 takes. It was 1 take. And the next day, I remember sending you a text message. You sent me a message saying, how's the track sounding? I was like, oh, I've added something to it. I hope you like it.
Famous last words.
And you listened to it, and you were like, that's really cool. I really like that. And I'm like, I'll do a better sung version. You were like, no. Just leave it the way it is. And I was like, oh, I could sing it better. You're like, no. Just, and this is pretty much.
I think. Do you want to hold on? Press pause. Do you want to take off all the effects that you've got and just play your voice naturally? How it's sung. I think that's like.
It won't sound good though.
Well, it'll sound natural.
Yeah. Okay. No worries.
I don't know. You don't have to, but it's not like it's going to be me singing into the track, and then you put me through put me through Melodyne like 100 times.
Lost without you here. Yeah, it's a bit shaky without anything on it. Obviously, the beauty of plugins bit of reverb always fixes it. Compression always squeezes it. EQ will get rid of the nasty sounds, so just bear in mind it's going to sound really rough. But hey, it sounds alright in the final mix, right? So this is it. Lost without you here. You can hear that. I'm quite emotional there. You can hear that. And I'm lost. I feel no fear. Here we go, actually, I have the EQ on it. And I'm lost. I
lost all my tears.
So now if
crying for you.
First thing, compression. Then it. Bit of pitch.
Crying for you.
Reverb. Gain. High cut. 3G.
Lost all my tears.
Delay.
Now it's sounding.
EQ. 2 EQs.
Without you here.
Rough, not so rough.
Yeah.
And I'm no way, shape, or form a very technical singer. You know, vibrato and things I'm not very good at doing. I can only do it at certain notes. So it's not. That's why I'm really surprised. Like people are like really liking it. Technically, it's not the best sung song, but it's got a lot of emotion behind it. It's got a lot of soul behind it.
I think when I've heard you like with your guitar, just singing, tracks like REM, Everybody Hurts and stuff, but sung very softly, acoustically, sort of thing. And I think that's for me the strength of your voice. Like where you sing more sort of chilled kind of tracks, kind of thing. And so but like it just when you got a voice that you can use in a track, like there's no good using mine, like cause you want me to sing this track right now and everybody can be like, okay, yeah, well, it's a good job Jules did it, that's for sure. But yeah, I think with, like you said, with
I love singing.
Well, that's the thing. But like we've had tracks before from vocalists, and you play them dry without any reverb or anything on them. And
have you got the original rear on it?
Original Polly,
the one with me singing on it.
We're going to have another video, I think, because we're probably we're 52 minutes into this video as it is. So
shit.
This is a video for if anyone who's not a producer is still watching this video by now, email me and I'll bow down to you for the rest of my life, because we've just rambled on about. But we tried to make it as detailed as possible.
This is us though, right?
It's the way we are. I hope that it's not been boring at any parts. I hope that there's people that can learn out there that can learn things from us, like we've learned from other people all our musical career. Certainly from my half, I'm not a musician, right? And anyone who knows me, I always say that I'm not a musician. Jules is a musician, right? He can play instruments, right? I can't. But what I can do is I know what sounds good in a trance track, and I know what works. Brother. And I think between the two of us, we bring out the best in each other. There's without me, there we go. Yeah, without me, our tracks wouldn't sound the way they do, and I know that, and you've said that to me many times, and the same for you. I feel when I sit in my own studio, I can do things, I can make a track, but it's just not the level that it is when me and you get together, See,
I'm the cheese, you're the onion, I'm the cheese.
Or I'm the grater.
Cheese and onion. I don't know. Perfect combination, see?
I think you could have come up with better combinations than
you're
cheese.
The prawn, I'm the cocktail. Maybe prawn cocktail. No.
Barry Chuckle and his brother. So we could
to me,
to you. Yeah, there you go. That's where we're at. But no,
I'm the fish, you're the chips.
I think without my
fish and chips.
without my enthusiasm for acid sounds, for sure, which people say is quite distinctive in our tracks. It's there's no I in team. And we both bring things to the table.
Finished product.
But you are by far the more talented out of two of us in this area. I wipe the floor with you DJing, I'd like to think, but
really?
Yeah. I'm always having to correct you with little beat matches here and there. No, he's got that one off. Or cut the bass.
I smash him in. I do it. Ali and Feeler style.
Yeah.
Boss!
He was taught to mix by Faddy. Whereas I was taught to mix by John Dickweed. That kind of vibe, I think what we'll do now actually is if you stop it. I mean, what we'll do is so just quickly. I mentioned it before in the video about mixdown stuff, but we mix it down as best we can. We did the finished mix with Dave, sent it to Faddy. Faddy came back with us saying this is an amazing track. You need to tweak the mix a little bit more.
get some more low end, bring the low end through. And we did it our end, sent it back to him. He still felt it was sort of lacking. I think it's Neptune you need to open, the one that says Neptune on it.
That one?
No, Neptune, the one underneath.
Ooh, shit,
so basically got in touch with Rob Activa, who's absolute genius, engineering wise, producer wise, etc. And luckily we were able to get him to do the final mix, and then he sent us back the final mix project, which is just like all audio files as you see here. We made some tweaks that he couldn't do in time. Faddy needed the track for the Ministry of Sound compilation that's forthcoming soon. Transnation CD, so it was all right, kind of like really rushed, and the final week with this track was trying to get it done as quick as we can, as best we can. So it was a bit of back and forth between us and Activa on the mixdown. Rob really brought out the vocal for sure. Really made a massive difference with the punch, the kick, the low end, which was lacking from what we had done and what Faddy's feedback was playing it in clubs. I mean, I think that with the penny dropped when I spoke to Faddy and he said, like, how's the track sound? And he said, it sounds amazing when the break happens, but then when it kicks in, people don't dance. And it's like, well, something's majorly wrong with this track if people aren't dancing to it when it kicks in. So, we fixed the issue with the low end. I live in a flat here and we've got massive neighbour problems, and I've always found, like, since I moved in here, we've never been able to like crank the bass as much as we want, and whether that's affected our final mix and the acoustics in the room, and even with Dave we weren't quite able to nail it. So Rob absolutely smashed it. Did it in sort of half a day for us, sent it back. We did a few final tweaks our end because some of the pads were lacking in his final mix. Just boosted a few things here and there so that we personally were happy with it. And that was pretty much it. So
this is the finished product.
So this is the finished product. This is the only track that we've made where the mixdown has gone back and forth between us and with Dave, and then us again, and then back across to Faddy, and then not happy back to us, and then us to Rob, and then Rob back to us. And normally it's just a simple process of
thanks, Rob.
Yeah, it's normally a simple process of just us doing it, taking it to Dave, and then it's done in one day. But we did rush this with Dave. I think we did 2 mixdowns in one day with him, and I think that's probably why that it was it was lacking. And I think with Dave we need to spend a day, like I said, on a track just to get that track perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is the final mixdown. See, everything's all bounced to audio, which was the way that Rob wanted to mix the track down for us. Sub makes a huge difference here. That's Rob's sub there, which he added. Definitely.
Much better.
One thing we missed on the other version was the little intro effect of the vocal there. You just heard it. It's solo out the second time it comes in. Solo out here. So just a nice little delayed effect there with Jules's vocal.
Well, people don't know, but I actually sung a lower version as well. So instead of "and I'm lost," there was also "and I'm lost without you here."
And that's where that came from.
That's where that came from. Yeah. So it was like "and I'm lost," and then you just chopped it to 16ths. So it ended up being a chop vocal with a bit of reverb on it. And that's why it's got a different, it fits in, it kind of, people don't think it's a vocal, but it is. Play it one more time.
I think we're pretty much at an hour now with this, so should we wrap it up?
No, let's keep going.
It's like a movie.
Let's keep going.
This is literally like I don't even think they're making of any films like Indiana Jones and
Dan-
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Dan's been like texting me a call and say, "Come over and do this video.
Yeah,
It'll take 10 minutes.
I was like, can you spare
Plus 50.
Can you spare half an hour? Like, yeah, plus like 3 hours like, on top to like go down to my computer downstairs and take off the 2.5 gig file every 25 minutes. So, but there we are. Okay, look,
Let's dance.
I think. I'm gonna dampen the volume a little bit. Yeah, I think like So what I do want to say, actually, I'm probably going to do a separate video for this, but we have decided that with this track we're going to donate a portion of our royalties to British Heart Foundation in memory of Jules' dad Brian, who this track's about. So, you know, we'd really appreciate this if you could support this track, to buy it on Beatport, iTunes, you know, where all the different platforms. But you know, it'd be nice if we could get this high in the Beatport, you know, charts and raise as much money as we can for British Heart Foundation. This is, you know, a very special track to us. It has a lot of meaning, and you know, I know a lot of you guys have connected with it. You're asking for the release date. I believe it's at the end of May, but I will confirm that on a Facebook page. So, anything you want to go over or say?
No,
I hope that you've got something from this video. You know, I know it's pretty in depth, but I really hope
that's rambling on about random stuff.
If you can ignore the rambling, then there's probably a lot of useful sort of tips and tricks here as to what we've done. And you know, I think we're really proud of this, and we'd just like to say thanks to everyone for the massive messages of support, and we really appreciate it so much. So, you want to turn it up? So from us, thanks to everyone again, and hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you all soon, hopefully at a show or
more videos.
You know, more videos to come. We're going to try and do as many as we can, and interesting things. So
we said we'll do one. We'll go through how we make our beats, how we make the percussion.
Yeah, we'll do one of those next, and then we'll do one with acids, I think. All right, take care, guys. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.